All right, welcome back to Chapter 8. We're going to have a look at this program right here called the comma separated value reader file. And what this is going to do when we run it is when I click get the scores, it's going to go out and get a text file. And that text file looks like this. And it's going to read these text scores in, and it's going to calculate the average for each student. And we're going to do that by using these new methods that we've been looking at here for string manipulation. All right, let's close that down here. All right, now to do that, of course, we need to have an input file. So we're going to have to do a stream reader and grab that input file. We're going to look at each individual line. So we'll set up a string here to look at the line. Start a counter, start at 0. We're going to keep track, of course, of the total so we can keep track of the average. We could look at this, create a character delimiter, but if you look at the delimited file, it's all just one character anyway, so we really don't need this. It's kind of a redundant step, so I'm going to, I could comment that out, but I'm in the run mode right now. And we could set up a delimited process here for, or an array of delimited characters, but we really don't need that. Now the file I'm going to use, it's a text file. And it's called grades, and this is a comma separated value. So by default it opens in Excel because that's the default for Excel, but it is a text file, of course. So we're going to open that text file and we're going to put it in and create an object in our memory called the input file, which contains basically virtually everything here gets put into this input file right there. Now we can work with it. So now that we've got that input file here, let me bring that back up, we're going to loop through this file as long as we're not at the end of the stream. And by default, we start right here at the beginning, and the first line here says read the line, so it reads this line and drops down to that point right there. So it reads the line and puts it into the line string right here. And once we've done that, we can now tokenize it. So tokenizing means pull it apart. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different elements. We can pull it apart. So we're going to tokenize it with this delimiter, which is just a comma. Now I could have just used, of course, a quote, comma, quote in here instead of making this so complicated. But anyway, and that would break it into these different tokens. And so now we've got a string of tokens that have 4 values. All right, now if let's start off and let's calculate the total. So I'll initialize the token, or the the total back to 0 to start off, and then we'll go through all 4 of those and we will accumulate them. So we're going to basically go through each of those. So we'll go through 55, and we're going to take 55 and we're going to parse that string into a integer, and we're going to add it to total, and we're going to repeat that again for each of those, loop through, and we're going to take all 4 of those and accumulate that into total. Once we've accumulated the total, we can then take the total, divide it by the length of the token, which is 4, and we're going to cast that out as a double so that we've got the right data type here as double, and we've got a double over here as the average. So that's given us our average is what we're looking for. Now once we got the average, the easy part is just to output the results. The average for student number 1, because we're just on the first one, is, and then we're going to put in the average of whatever that happened to be and output the results. All right, and then we're going to loop through that that whole process. So we've got a loop here that we're going to go through each and every record, and we've got a loop for each and every part of the string to tokenize it. So there's a loop within a loop here. And of course, we definitely want to close the file once we're done. And from there, if there was an exception thrown, meaning that there was maybe an error in the file, for example, like there was some kind of, weird special character set up inside of here. Oh, not that, but some kind of odd character in here, and there was a problem with the file, that it might catch that and throw out the default exception handling message by default there. And this is what we get. So we go through that first line of code right here, we average it out, and we concatenate the message, and then we loop again, and so forth.